Glory, glory, glory be to God. Thank you for joining. You know, glad to have you. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Very welcome to the stream for tonight. I mean, for this day. It's a beautiful day here in Ireland today. The sun is shining. The day is beautiful. You know, just a beautiful weather. It's one of the best weathers. Welcome to our live stream today. Glad to have each and every one of us here today. Glad to have you. Glad to have you live, joining me live where I discuss, I believe, very important topics that I do think they interest us, right? So I like to discuss with very topical stuff, right? Very interesting topics. So if you can join and share with somebody, and don't forget to subscribe. So our main topic today is why are we removing religion from the mainstream? All right. So obviously, it's very clear and it's very, evident that there is a kick against religion from the mainstream, such as mainstreams like education, politics, what have you, all the other finance, all the other areas of life. You can see at work. It's difficult to talk about even religion at work. So we can agree that there is a definite, people are definitely turning against religion, and we are removing it from the mainstream. And I want to understand why, right? I want us to discuss why. Why do we believe that? Welcome wherever you're watching me from. Glad that you are watching, right? And don't forget to comment, say hello, say hi, so that I can know that you are there. Glory be to God. So that I can know that you are there. So what we are dealing with here is why is religion being removed from the mainstream, right? Why is there religion being removed from the mainstream? And if you can give your thoughts as we discuss. Obviously, it's very evident that religion is being, there is a rejection of religion from the mainstream. It's very evident that people don't want religion within them, and I want to understand why, right? Why do we want religion within the mainstream? And I believe that is one of the best ways to end a conversation with somebody. One of the best ways to end a conversation with somebody is to mention anything religion related, right? Once you mention anything, religion related, you are going to lose that person. You're going to lose the person. You're gonna lose the person, especially if you mention anything to do with Jesus. But as religion is being rejected from the mainstream, we can also see other schools of thought or other things rising up, right? Rising up that people are actually turning to. So people are not actually going religionless in a sense. I think people are just turning to other things, right? So I think people are turning to other things. They're not just going totally, totally religionless. But we want to understand why, do we not want. Obviously, it's clear that things have changed. The way things used to be before, right? Things have changed. Things have changed. How the world used to be, how people used to think, and we are a different generation. I believe that this generation is a bit different, and one of the main things that makes us different as a generation, we are trying to be self-dependent, right? We are trying to be self-dependent, and I think that's part of the reason why we are trying to remove religion from the mainstream. We are trying to be a self-dependent, self-governing, right? Self-governing, where we decide what's good for us, right? We are more personal in touch, right, with ourselves as a generation. I think we're in a generation that is more about us, right? More about us, more about how we feel, right? How we feel. Because if you look at, for example, back in the days, the things that how people used to live their life back in the days has changed. Things that you used to do to somebody before or say to somebody, if you say them now, you might find yourself in court, right? You might find yourself that you are arrested. Or some of the remarks that might not have been considered too bad back in the day, if you say them now, right, you find that those remarks are very offensive. So I think we are a generation that is in tune with ourselves. Everything is all about us, right? It's about us. It's about me. It's about what I like, what we don't like. You understand? So I think this is a generation where we are. Our generation, this generation, or maybe the Z generation, it's about us. We will call ourselves a woke, right? We will say we are somehow a woke generation. I wonder if somebody who was raised 40 years ago, or somebody who grew up 50 years ago, met with somebody, maybe somebody who was born 50 or 60 years ago, met with somebody who was born now, in this generation, 21st century, especially the Z generation. I wonder what would the discussion be like, right? And I would like to see that. I would like to see that. I would like to see, when a really old person and a really young person meet and talk about their views on life. Maybe this is something that I might do. Maybe I might find a very young person and a very old person, maybe a Z generation, somebody who considers himself woke, and somebody who is maybe their 80s or 80s especially, who has seen a lot of changes, and their views on life and what they believe, how to be happy, right? How to be happy. I would like to hear their views, what somebody in our generation believes is the way to be happy, and somebody in their generation believes is the way to be happy. And what is the process of getting to happiness, right? What is the process of getting to happiness? And I think also now in our generation, men have sort of lost their identity in a sense, right? I do believe that yes, we might say that we are in a woke generation, but I think we have what I usually would call identity crisis, right? I think we have a lot of identity crisis in our even though we might consider ourselves to be woke, right? Even though we might consider ourselves to be a woke generation, I do still think that we are we have identity crisis. A lot of people in our generation don't know themselves, right? They don't know who they are, and especially now, because um, our grandparents or even our parents, if your parents was born in the 60s, 70s, right? In the 70s, especially men, you know, men were identified by their roles, right? Men. They were like the breadwinners. They were the ones working, and the women, were kind of like staying at home, taking care of kids. Sometimes women might work, but this was kind of like established social norms, established roles, where men will go out and work and women will stay at home. Now, in this our generation now, so back in the days, a man was seen as the breadwinner, right? A man is somebody that went to work. So a man always felt he was connected to his work. So men were connected to their job. So, and they felt that they meant something in their homes, because since they were breadwinners, when they came home, everybody was happy to see them. Everybody was like, wow, you. There was such respect that was given to them because of their role. But now, I'm not saying now it's bad. I'm just saying that maybe the identity of men, where men always put their identity, was not the good place to do that. So men always saw themselves as breadwinners. But coming to this generation, men are working, right? Men are working, and women are working also. And in some places, women are making more than men. So I think that is why you find that during COVID, right? During COVID, I think there were more reports of abuse than any other period, because men were never home. They were always busy. But at this point, men were now at home. They didn't have anything to do. They didn't know what to do. So they were frustrated, right? They were frustrated because they always received, hello, how are you? Right? So they always got their identity from home. And remember that what we're actually looking at here today is, why are we removing Christianity from the mainstream? And what I'm explaining some of the things that might be at the back or at play. Right? Some of the factors that might be contributing to all these things. So, hello, how are you? So obviously it's very clear that as a society we are rejecting Christianity from, religion from the mainstream. We don't want it. And why do you believe this is so? Why are we getting rid of religion? Why do people hate religion? Like I told you, like today I was in town, I was preaching, and as I'm talking to people about Jesus, saying to somebody Jesus loves you, right? Or God loves you, you can see the reaction from that person, that it makes them so angry. Right? It makes those people very angry to hear anything God related. Or even in our educational institutions, there is a movement that where we are just, we don't want religion, we don't want anything to do with God or religion. And I'm trying to understand, what do we think, right? What are the forces that are causing people to not want religion being mentioned, especially Christianity, right? What are the reasons that makes people not want religion, especially Christianity, being mentioned to them, right? What is the cause of this? Is this something we can deal with? Why? Because I think sometimes, I think our political leaders, right? Our political leaders are a reflection of who we are. Just think about that. Just think about that. Let us think it for a while. Our political leaders are a reflection of who we are, or they are a reflection of our choices. So our political leaders are a reflection of our choices and who we are. So we shouldn't blame our political leaders for whatever they're doing. We should blame our choices. We are the one that chose them and put in power. At least in countries where democracy still rules. So Donald Trump or whoever political leader is a reflection of us, right? Of us. It's very easy for me to say, well, if I came into power, right? If I came into power, I am going to be a good leader. But when I get into power, there is no guarantee that I'm going to stand by my past views. Right? I'm going to stand, because I believe that as I am right now, as we are, there are so many sins, or there are so many wrong things, or there are so many preferences that we have that we don't know that we have. Right? So there are so many things that we have within us. There are so many choices and preferences that we have within us that we have not yet discovered, because we are not in positions to yet know a lot about ourselves. For example, there are some things that you have, right? For example, there are some things that you have, there are some things that you like that you don't know you like, because you have not been put in an environment to know that you like those things. So there's some behaviors that you have that can only be discovered when power is given to you. So I think the people that went into power and changed, I don't think people change in a sense. I don't think they change. Oh, sometimes we say, oh, well, this person has money, they have changed. Money has changed you. I don't think money changes people. I think money just allows people to be who they have always been. So maybe you go into a relationship with somebody, and maybe you are in a relationship and this person is the best. The person is very, very good. The person is nice. The person is lovely. The person is doing great. And then suddenly you get married to the person, or you get into a relationship and the person becomes abusive. And then you say, well, you were not like this before. You have changed, right? Because prior to the relationship, this person wasn't abusive. Now